It's a crime novel. It's set in Cape Town. It's really more of a mystery than a straight thriller, I would say. And it involves two main characters. They're both women. One is a very young coloured detective from a very poor ghetto area. And the other one is a sort of middle-aged psychotherapist, a little bit antisocial. And it's really a story about the past and about a sort of hidden, what is hidden underneath what is apparent in these characters' lives. So it's like an investigation within an investigation. I chose two women from two different origins because I did feel that they both represented very different, first of all, backgrounds. They're from different races, they're from different economic circumstances, so from different classes, you could say. And I thought that that clash of those two personalities, the conflict, would highlight some of the bigger issues in South Africa. I think my writing has been influenced by my background in film and in filmmaking, particularly because I come from quite a heavily research-based discipline, which is originally from documentary making. So that has very much influenced the way that I write, because I find that I like to really sink myself into the society and the communities of the people that I write about. And I think that gives me maybe a kind of seriousness in a way, because a lot of it is about investigating social issues. I would say that I approached the whole, I didn't consciously approach this story with the idea that it would somehow relay something of a new reality, but I think because I'm very steeped in that, because I do so much research, because I spend a lot of time maybe crossing over into communities and into environments that maybe writers don't perhaps usually do. And that has been a huge advantage for me, because I find that I meet, first of all, interesting characters and come across very interesting stories, but then I also get a sense of a very nuanced society. So for example, I mean, South Africa is actually quite a religious country, actually. There's a kind of belief in the ancestors, and there's a connection maybe to another world, a kind of a spiritual world. That is, it's sort of innate in the culture. It's not laid on top. It's sort of something that's in the country. And in a way, I wanted my books to show that it's not just about the violence, and it's not just about that. It's also about, there's a certain sort of warmth or a humaneness in the society that I think is quite unique, actually. The secret that is at the heart of the book is almost a metaphor for the society at large, which is one with tremendous denial, still, very much so. In fact, because of that, there's now a new consciousness that's coming through the youth, particularly from the student movement, which sees that denial. It's a kind of post-Mandela generation. We call them the born frees. Mandela, everything had to work, otherwise we would have had a civil war. I think now what we see is that what has been hidden in the past, what has lain dormant in a sense, is now, has to come up. It has to be revealed in order for people to be healed. Otherwise, the secret just lies there and festers. And so in that sense, it is a metaphor for what is going on in the country, or, you know, that there is this denial, which is now ending, because really through the youth movements, through the student movements, there's a sense of, that's enough now. It can't carry on. We can't pretend it never happened. We can't pretend that the playing fields are even. It's not. It's, the revolution is not over. And it also has to come from it's an internal revolution, it's a psychological revolution of freedom, of kind of mental freedom. So yes, in that sense, the book, what is at the heart of the book is a metaphor for that bigger social movement. I was surprised to win it. I think when you write a book, it always feels like this very personal conversation between yourself and your sort of ideal reader. So you're almost writing or imagining a sort of small group of people maybe who will be interested. And I think maybe all writers do that as they're writing. They're sort of imagining maybe a small group of people, maybe, you know, 8 of their friends. When from somewhere, first of all from another country, and people who I suppose read a lot of crime novels, then sort of give you some sort of recognition. It's a very, it's you know, well, it's surprising, and also it's a little bit unbelievable. You sort of think, well, maybe they made a mistake, or maybe they mixed me up with someone else. And when you read a lot of crime, you always think, I always think of those, you know, writers like Ruth Rendell and people who've got that those awards, and think, well, you know, it seems a little bit unbelievable. But of course, I was very thrilled. Well, I'm very honoured to have been invited to the Quai du Poilâ. I'm very impressed at the way that French people read crime novels. Because, you know, in the English-speaking world, there's a tremendous bias against crime novels, because they can't see that in any way, can't fit crime, the genre of crime, into literature generally. So the difference is, I think, with France, is that France takes, as they do many genres, they don't differentiate. If the writing is good, the writing is good, and then it is literature. So, and also I'm quite intrigued by how French people are so interested in noir, this concept of this dark side of human life. I find that very interesting. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have a book out in France, and that French people are going to read it. And the response has been so good so far. So I feel maybe in some way my book is speaking to some consciousness in the French people, and also because it seems like a very politically engaged country, maybe much more so than a lot of English-speaking countries, I think. And so there's that connection to South Africa, because South Africa is also a very engaged, politically engaged country. So I'm thrilled. I couldn't, you know, I'm very overwhelmed by the honour, and I really hope that French readers really enjoy my book. And thank you.
Thanks to you.
Thank you.